From 1928 to 1938, the Nanjing decade of nationalist rule, and particularly in the period 1933 to 1937, the regime of Chiang Kai-shek had closer relations with Germany than with any other foreign power. A German military mission reorganized the nationalist army, replacing the Russians, and its leading members served as Chiang Kai-shek's personal economic and political advisors. Returned students from Germany increasingly staffed Chinese agencies in control of industrial and military modernization. And all of this was buttressed by a certain level of ideological affinity, especially regarding Chinese attitudes toward Germany as a model good for China for specific aspects of Chinese development. Cooperation with Germany meant cooperation with a foreign nation whose ethic of development, as understood by Chiang Kai-shek and other nationalist leaders, was compatible with their own. To these socially conservative leaders who saw military and industrial development as the key to China's national strength, Germany, in its emergence as a unified state and a global power in the last third of the 19th century, and its startling recovery after the First World War, could seem an example of rapid and non-revolutionary national development. For Chiang Kai-shek in particular, this was a different kind of foreign model, an emulation less of a particular political philosophy than of a whole nation's experience, an experience that he thought was relevant to China. He thought in terms of national character. Do you believe that there is such a thing? Is there such a thing as an American or a German or a Chinese national character? Well, it actually doesn't matter what you think. Chiang Kai-shek thought there was, and many people believed it at that period of time. He thought of a frugal, resilient, organized people, neat, law-abiding, and old-fashioned in a good sense. This is why he sent 2 of his sons to study in Germany. This is why he employed a large number of German advisors, as he told his son, Jiang Weiguo, when he sent him to study in Germany. China, he said, should learn from a country that is solid, not fancy. We can't do things yet in the fancy way. We have nothing to learn from the Japanese. Their goods, he said, are too cheaply made. The Americans are too fancy. The British too slow. The French too vain. Germany is the country from which we can learn something. They can give us the base from which to develop our own style, firm and solid. And in pursuing a German model, it helped that Germany, after World War I, had lost its imperialist privileges in China, lost its colony, and it was now dealing with China as an equal. And after 1933, it helped, too, that Germany seemed to offer something even more, a potential model for renovation that was newer even than communism, and that was fascism, the newest ism of the day. Chiang Kai-shek had been following the development of fascism in Italy in the 1920s and then in Germany in the 1930s. His first military advisor, a guy named Max Bauer, told Chiang Kai-shek in 1927, quote, "Study what Mussolini has done with his absolutely degenerate people in such a short period of time," thinking that if you could get the Italians to march in line, just think what you could do with the Chinese. Much discussion occurred in China as to whether it too should follow Italy and Germany on the fascist road. There were hundreds of articles about this. Mein Kampf was translated into Chinese and available on kiosks in Nanjing, the capital city. Chinese soldiers were outfitted with German uniforms. An officer group labeled itself within the Chinese army the blue shirts, emulating the brown and black shirts of Germany. And there was some speculation and much written about whether one was seeing the development of a fascism à la Chine. But in fact, even within the government, there was very little agreement as to what fascism actually meant. For some in the party believed in the national side of National Socialism. Some others believed in the technical aspects of a planned economy, as Germany had 4-year plans different from Soviet 5-year plans. Some believed in the socialist side of nationalist socialism. But this then was the problem. All agreed that fascism could offer something for China, but none agreed as to what precisely its main contribution could be, what its real meaning for China would be. One can get a sense of this by looking at how the term fascism was translated into Chinese. Fascism, Italian fascism, was originally translated as banghe-juyi, as if to hit somebody over the head to knock them from their senseless ways. Fascism would be transliterated into Chinese, Fascist-juyi or Fascist-juyi, two different phrases interchangeably used, but never translated into Chinese. Other political terms, democracy, Minju-juyi, people's ruleism, communism, 工厂主义, shared production-ism, socialism, 社会主义, social, society-ism. These are terms that have been translated into Chinese and have meaning in Chinese. Fascism, although transliterated, can never be translated into Chinese society, even for leaders who followed what one might call a fascist vogue.